Oh, hey, we're live.
Whoa. Already?
Yeah,
Wow.
we're live.
That was fast.
It's pretty fast, so here we go. Life moves pretty fast.
Yes, it does.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I don't see our opening credits.
What?
I think our opening credits disappeared.
Oh.
I don't know what to say about that.
Okay, well.
I mean, I can try and do it again. See if I'll run them. I don't know why they didn't work. Let's try it.
That's okay.
No, we can try it again. I mean, we can talk over a black screen. It's kind of cinematic. Or not.
A little creepy.
Maybe it is a little creepy.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works.
See, it's a black screen.
Oh, hey, look.
Oh.
There they are.
Yeah.
Oh, the
There
credits.
it is.
It's amazing what you can do with technology.
See?
We haven't even had anything to drink yet.
No.
But you know, today's been one of those days on the show here on the channel.
Yes. Yes, it has.
It's been crazy. Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your sommelier of cinema, your viceroy of verisimilitude, your master of fun and wonder, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, and Robservations presents one more episode of what?
Elizabeth's whining about the movies.
And who might you be?
I am Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell.
Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell.
Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell.
And what is this show? What are we doing here?
This is Elizabeth's whining about the movies.
I understand, but what are we going to talk about?
We are talking about Flesh and Blood.
Flesh and Blood.
Yes.
Paul Verhoeven's first English language movie, which came out in 1985.
Yes, and this is a viewer's choice. This was chosen for us.
It was chosen for us. It stars Rutger Hauer. It also stars, well, it doesn't star, but Bruno Kirby is in it. Jennifer Jason Leigh is in it, and they were dating after the movie. They were, and of course, Leon, the character the Brian James played in Blade Runner.
Yes.
Who worked with Rutger Hauer, they were replicants, also appears in this movie.
Oh, very cool.
So it's like a Blade Runner re-teaming.
Yes.
And before we get into what we thought about the movie, I think we have to introduce our bottle of wine tonight.
Yes, we do.
Because it's hot. Like suddenly, like it always does in Los Angeles, it went from being 50 degrees to now being 85 degrees in like a day.
Yeah, insane.
Insane. So we're having a nice... What is this? This is Ondine.
It's a Chardonnay.
Ondine Chatan 2018 Chardonnay from the Russian River Valley. So
it has a cool label.
Here is the bottle of wine that we are drinking. I believe we got this from Naked Wines as well.
Yes.
They do not sponsor this show.
They should, though.
I want to say that. So here, they should sponsor this show. Naked Wines should sponsor this show. We certainly sponsor them. Look at that pour, huh?
Ooh, nice.
I mean, we're going to get through the whole bottle anyway, so what does it really matter? We're drinking these out of Game of Thrones glasses.
Yes.
I got these with Game of Thrones beer that KUSC DJ Brian Lawrenson gave me.
That's right.
Well, let's cheers to this.
Cheers.
And Elizabeth is fond of talking about how many different copies of movies I own. I actually own 2 different copies of this movie on Blu-ray.
Surprise, surprise.
One is from 101 Films from the UK, but this is the first version I got. This is the Kino Lorber Blu-ray that has audio commentary from Paul Verhoeven, and it also has a featurette on Basil Polidorus, the composer that Paul Verhoeven later used on Robocop and Starship Troopers.
Very cool.
Yes, and yes, it's quite a great package. Now, this is the uncut version of Flesh and Blood. I haven't even drank yet. I'm sorry.
Always jump right into the movie.
I get so excited.
We don't get to taste our wine.
Okay, here's cheers to you, and here's cheers to Paul Verhoeven. You know, I love shards. This is a good shard.
Ooh, this one's good.
This is a good shard.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
So anyway, this movie was censored in the United States, and Verhoeven on the audio commentary for this disc talks about how Flesh and Blood, Robocop, Total Recall, Basic Instinct, and Starship Troopers all had to be edited from either X or NC-17 to achieve an R rating. Mm-hmm. This version of Flesh and Blood has copious amounts of nudity.
It does.
It has rapes and bloodletting.
Yes, it does.
And little Jennifer Jason Leigh from Fast Times at Ridgemont High exposes her bosom quite often in this film.
Her everything.
She does her everything. You could see everything if you were Patrick Stewart and extras. You could see everything and a lot of everything.
Yeah.
And this movie takes place in 1501.
1501.
It was shot in Spain, but I guess it takes place in Italy.
Okay.
So, Elizabeth, what is this movie about?
Okay, but before we get into this, I need to tell the story again.
Yes, tell the story, but tell your story of Flesh and Blood.
Okay. So, when this movie came out, I saw a review. I watched Entertainment Tonight. It must have been Ebert's review. I mean, it must have. But I wanted to see
So that would probably be on at the movies at this time.
Right, because it was right after Entertainment Tonight. And then,
right.
Okay. So, I wanted to see this film so bad, and by then it was already on VHS.
So it probably was by 1986 by then.
Okay, a couple years later.
Yeah.
So I was 15. And so I basically convinced my dad that we needed to see this movie. And we went to Blockbuster and he rented it, brought it home, put it in, and we're there with my entire family, my mom, my great aunt, who's like my grandmother, and my dad. And we're watching this film, and it comes to the rape scene.
A very public rape.
And I'm squirming now, like, and to me, it felt like it went on and on and on and on. And a few minutes in, my dad's like, Oh, and at one point, my great aunt said in Yugoslavian to my dad, "Šta je to? What is this?" And so then my dad turned it off.
Oh, really?
So I never got to see the whole film until now.
And this was because viewers chose it.
Yes, so thank you. I finally got to see this film.
Well, okay, so why don't you tell the viewers at home what this movie's actually about?
Okay, so this is set in 1501, and it opens with a fight scene, right? They're like...
Well, they're sacking a city.
Yeah, they're storming a city, and they're like taking everything and just fighting.
Yeah, there's a group of mercenaries that have been employed by, Almofini. And Almofini wants to take his city back, so he's employed a lot of mercenaries. And Almofini says, okay, we're going to sack the city, and once you get in, you can do whatever you want for 24 hours.
Right.
You can take the loot, whatever you want to do in the city, you can.
Yeah, so they're like stealing everything, raping the women, and so on and so forth. So when that's over, they are leaving the city, and they tell the mercenaries that we can't pay you, so get out of here.
Yeah, they basically just want them gone.
Yeah, they're like, get out of here, we're done.
And the captain of the guard, Almofini's captain of the guard is named, let me get this right, Jack Thompson plays him, Hawkwood, who's friends with Rutger Hauer's character, Martin.
Right.
And Martin and Hawkwood are friends.
He even saves his life at one point.
Saves his life at one point. They're like on good terms, but yeah. Almofini has asked Hawkwood to get these ruffians out. So Hawkwood betrays Martin and his band.
Yes.
His group of mercenaries. He's got a kind of a close-knit group of people.
Yeah.
Including this homosexual couple, which is interesting for that Bruno Kirby is one half of that couple.
Uh-huh.
There's like a harlot. A married harlot who has Martin's baby, apparently, or it could be the baby of all of their little group. You never know. I don't think
she's married.
No, she's not. But she like allows herself to be shared by.
Well, yeah. There's like 3 or 4 of these women.
Yeah, in the group.
That are free and loose.
Yep.
And so then they leave the city.
Well, then Almofini, who's sacked the city, who's now got the city. It's his city.
Right.
He has the young, pretty son Stephen.
Right, so he's an aristocrat, and he's got this son, kind of like the prince, and
but he's smart. He tries to build weapons, like he makes weapons
into
of
science.
war. Science.
He's at the university. He's studying, and he loves science. So you see him in his lab or whatever, and he's like building contraptions.
Weapons of war.
Yeah. So, but that's later. You're skipping around.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
So they leave the city, and they. See, now I'm confused.
Well, no, they leave the city because they have nowhere to go. They're just gonna go. They're gonna go look for more work because
They are, but they're upset that they've just been let go like that without any compensation. No, nothing.
No, nothing. They've been done dirty.
They've been done dirty
by Almofini. They're a little pissed.
Yeah, they're a little pissed.
And then something happens. Our harlot gives birth.
Oh, right. So she gives birth. She's very pregnant. And the pregnancy looks very fake. It was weird looking. But anyway, she gives birth, a stillbirth.
Stillborn.
And the baby is then taken away and...
going to be buried.
Buried in a wine barrel.
They put it in a wine barrel to bury it, but what do they
And
find?
it's raining at this time, and so there's mud everywhere, and they start digging, and they find a saint buried in the dirt.
The statue of a saint, a wooden statue.
Yeah, a statue of a saint.
Of St. Martin of Tours.
They pull it out, and they're like, oh, this is St. Martin. And Martin says, oh, that's my name. So because they take it as a sign, he becomes their leader.
Right. Well, interestingly enough, for you genre fans out there, they have a cardinal. The mercenaries have their own cardinal, played by Ronald Lacey, who played Tote in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He plays the cardinal.
Oh.
You Americans, you're always overdressing for the wrong occasions. So they're going to go, and they
take their saint.
Yep.
And they go and they find this castle, and
well, before that.
Oh yeah, before that, the father tells Stephen, who is the prince, let's say prince, tells him that you are betrothed to this girl. He gives him a little locket that has her face painted in it, and says you are to marry this girl, and you're going to meet her tomorrow. And he's like, what? I don't even know her. I don't care about that. I just want to do my science.
Right.
And so he's pretty pissed. So then you see a scene of the princess coming to meet her prince.
And she's a hottie.
And yes, she's very pretty.
She's Jennifer Jason Leigh.
And she also has a locket with his face in it.
Mm.
And she has her maidservant with her. And they stop for a little bit, and she was raised in a convent to keep her pure. So she's curious now. She asks her maid, what is sex? How do you have sex? I don't even know how to do that. So she tells her servant to have sex with, I don't know, her boyfriend, whoever that guy was. He was like part of their entourage. And she's like, right now? She's like, yes. And she gets mad at her. And so the handmaiden goes and has sex with this guy, and she's watching them, and she's like, okay, enough. I've seen enough. I know now what this is about. And she like breaks them apart. And as they're leaving that scene, she runs into the guy she's going to marry.
Stephen.
They are out hunting.
Yeah, who's Amalfini's son, who's sacked the city.
Right.
And when they're out hunting, what happens?
So they run into the princess, and he's mad at his dad. He's like, oh, you tricked me. You said we were going to go hunting, and in reality, it was because you wanted me to meet her right now.
Right. But then they fall in love. I mean, they eat the mandrake root.
Yeah, so then they somehow go off together, and he's pretty pissed. He doesn't want anything to do with it, and she sees these two hanging corpses that have been, these people that have been hung.
Right.
And
the most romantic setting ever.
She starts digging under one of them, and what they believed was that when you're hung, you ejaculate, and wherever the ejaculation lands, the semen, there's a special root that if you eat the mandrake root, if you eat it, you will be instantly in love and together forever. Mm. So she digs up this root.
And her and Stephen.
Literally looks like a little fat man. And she makes him take a bite of it, and she takes a bite of it, and they fall instantly in love.
They fall instantly in love, and then their entourage is set upon by Martin.
Now, do you see why my 15-year-old self would want to see this movie? I mean,
yeah,
every
but you didn't know.
15-year-old girl's dream to like fall in love with the prince. And
yeah, but after seeing the Siskel and Ebert review, you should have known that this is like a hardcore Middle Ages.
See, I loved all that stuff too.
Oh, okay. But I don't think you didn't know how brutal and how sexual the movie could be.
I would have kept watching that film if I wasn't with my entire family.
I know, because you were a dirty girl.
I was.
You were dirty.
You know.
Dirty girl. So that's good.
I wouldn't say dirty. I was, yeah.
Mentally dirty. I mean, you're clean, but you're also dirty.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, so then they are attacked. That group is attacked by Martin and his mercenaries. And the father, Amalfini, is there. The father and Stephen, and they attack them.
What do you mean they attack them?
They attack the group. They attack the.
Oh, right.
What do you mean? Oh, right.
But this was a later scene.
It was a little late. Yeah, but we were.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We don't have to go scene by scene. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, so they're attacked. They kidnap Jennifer Jason Leigh, Rutger Hauer, and Bruno Kirby, and Brian James, and their band of mercenaries, the Harlot, and they take the hottie with them.
They take her, and this is the
Agnes,
scene...
by the way, her name's Agnes.
Yes, and this is the scene where I got
Hang
mortified.
on, they take her.
Well, they take her, and then
they take her to a castle. They basically find.
No, first they take her to their camp.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
And that happens first. So they take her to their camp, and they decide to rape her, and it's brutal.
It's brutal. They don't. I mean, but Martin steps in and says, "No, none of you
Martin,
are going to have."
Martin actually is the first one.
It's not going to be a gang rape.
He rapes her. She pretends to like it because she's trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
She pretends to like it. He rapes her, and then he kind of backs off to let other guys go at it. But he makes some kind of noise or excuse and distracts them from raping her. So he's really the only one who raped her.
So he's protecting her. He's being basically like chivalrous by only
raped
allowing
her,
himself.
And then
yeah, he just want he raped her, but he it's not going to be a gang rape. I'm gonna ease off and make you my own. So at the same time, what happens is after this happens, Stephen and Amalfini go back to Hawkwood, the captain that betrayed Martin. He's living the quiet life with this nun that he's rescued.
The nun that he slashed, and then he wanted to save her, and she's very cute.
She's very cute, and so they get Hawkwood, and they're like, "You've got to go after Martin and his brigands and rescue Agnes, rescue Jennifer Jason Leigh."
Yeah.
From this, and they find a castle. They Martin and his band comes.
Right. So now they go to this castle,
which is riddled with plague.
There's a little girl there, and she's sick.
She's sick.
But they don't realize that. So they go and storm this castle, and they make everybody leave. And the little girl with her nursemaid, the nursemaid scoops her up and jumps off the top of the castle. But the little girl lands on top of her, so the little girl doesn't die.
Right.
But the little girl then goes off into the wilderness and meets up with
the people looking for Martin. Hawk.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and by then she's like really
riddled with plague, and she gives them the plague.
Right.
So
she brought them the plague.
So then this new castle that Rutger Hauer and his band of ruffians, they're like
they are now barbarian savages, and they act like savages.
No, they have this great castle. Martin. I mean, they keep seeing these images, and Ronald Lacey, the cardinal, says, "This is the way it's supposed to be. We're going to live high on the hog. We got the spoils of war. We're just going to hole up in this castle and chill out, and everything's going to be fine." And then Rutger Hauer tries to get Jennifer Jason Leigh to fall in love with him, and then she's playing this game, like mind tricks on him.
She's pretending like she loves him and is in a relationship with him, and you don't know if she really is, and maybe now she has Stockholm. I kept saying she has Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, but she's still playing both sides against the middle.
But does she have Stockholm syndrome, or is she like, trying to survive? Like, what's going on here? So, in the meantime,
in the other place, Stephen wants Agnes's bride to be back.
Right.
And Hawkwood and Stephen and their soldiers have teamed up, and they're going after Martin to get Jennifer Jason Leigh back, but their band has been infected by plague.
Right.
They've been infected by plague. So, but they're coming to the castle. They're following the path, the trail, and where Martin and his merry band of brigands have gone.
Right.
And Martin and his band of brigands do not know that they're hot on that Hawkwood and Stephen are hot on their tail.
Right. And
coming after Agnes.
Right. So they show up, and they basically attack.
They attack the castle using Stephen's weapons of war. He's got this weird like turtle.
It's like a barrel. It's like a bomb.
Yeah.
It's a bomb.
Well, the barrel bomb at first. Well, Rutger Hauer uses that. Well, that happens later, but. Remember they got like the tank. He's got that tank that they put up to the gate.
That's right. It's a tank.
Yeah, they got
It's like this tank made out of wood. It's a wooden tank. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it has a thing that can.
Yeah, it's got like a door.
Like a hook and ladder truck that can.
And it's like extends. A tank. It's like.
And
It
so
was
they
really cool.
they lay siege to the castle, and Martin and his brigands are going to defend themselves. And then Martin used Stephen's weapon of war that blew somebody up at the beginning, the barrel,
Right, his bomb.
the wheeling
Barrel bomb.
and blows up the tank. So they're actually able to repel the Stephen and Hawk.
Yes. So they think they're all dead.
Hawkwood.
But
No, they repel this attack, and they go to Stephen and Hawkwood go and kind of lick their wounds, but they capture Stephen. After this battle.
because he stays there. Remember, they catch him in the tree. So that night, one guy is putting on a puppet show, a shadow puppet show, and a tree branch falls, and they look up, and it's Stephen in the tree. So they take a rope and they pull him down.
Well, but at the same time, back and forth, Hawkwood he's got the plague now. And the doctor, they've got this. They figure out that if you lance the boils, you can recover from the plague.
But he kept saying that to the guy, and he was like, "No, we have to bleed him." So
that's what the priest said.
The priest kept bleeding him out, and then he was dumping the blood in a ditch, and then this dog drank up the blood.
The plague-ridden blood. Yes.
Stephen was like, "Get away from there," and the dog ended up with the plague. That comes to play later on in the movie.
Yeah. So they find Stephen, who's in the tree, falls down. They chain him up into the courtyard of the.
Can you move this?
Oh yeah. They chain him up in the courtyard, and now that Jennifer Jason Leigh has Stephen, her betrothed, and Rutger Hauer, she's playing the two men off against each other.
When they pull him out of the tree, she has to pretend like she doesn't. She makes eye contact with him. Oh, previous to that though, when they attacked in the tank. She threw her locket.
That's right.
She threw her locket in a apple or something. I don't know. She threw it at him to indicate that she still had feelings for him.
Yep, that's 2 glasses for you.
Because they ate the mandrake. That's
yeah,
it?
Look at that. Look at
Oh.
that. Come on.
That was fast.
Yeah, I just added, but I just want you to know. Look at the difference. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, because I didn't drink all of mine.
Yeah, I just filled it up.
Anyway. So anyway, when he falls out of the tree, she has to well, at first she runs to him to make sure he's okay, but then she realizes she has to be careful, so she starts calling him a dog, and they chain him up.
Yep.
And
but she's still playing both sides against the middle because she doesn't want to die.
She doesn't want to die.
She doesn't want to die, but she still wants to save Stephen. But she might have feelings for Rutger Hauer because
she might.
He's dropping the D on her, and she's kind of liking it.
She's liking the attention.
Yeah. And so, to make a long story short, what ends up happening is Hawkwood, they use a catapult and they fire the dog that they've killed, the plague-ridden dog. They've chopped the dog up into chunks, and they're firing the meat.
Yes.
The contaminated, the dead dog.
The plague meat.
Into
the castle.
Into the castle, and unbeknownst to Martin and his merry band of brigands.
He picks up the meat with a sword, and Stephen's like, "I wouldn't touch that if I were you." Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Why?" He's like, "Because it's full of plague." And so then they are like, "Well, what do we do? Oh no, now there's plague all over this place." And so they're like, "Well, let's burn it." So they burn up the meat, and they're like, "Let's burn all their clothes." They put all their clothes in the pile,
and they think they're good,
and they think they're okay. And so later that evening, they are. No, it was the next day. Yeah. Stephen finds a little piece of meat behind a barrel
close
or
to
something.
where he's chained up.
Yeah. So when everybody leaves and Martin makes out with Agnes in front of him.
No, it doesn't make out. Like they have sex in front of the screen, right in front of him.
He goes down on her.
No, they have sex. They just don't see it. But yeah, he goes down on her, and they.
And of course, this
was it dirty enough for you?
Stephen very upset.
Yeah, because his wife is being fucked right in front of him.
Well, the 15-year-old in me was like, "Oh, I would have really liked this when I was 15."
Yeah.
So anyway, he picks up the piece of meat that was behind the barrel, and as she's leaving, she looks back.
She sees him.
She sees him, and he's like, he tosses it into the well. And he's like, "It's your choice. You can either tell them or not."
The well is full. The water supply for the castle. He throws the plague-ridden meat
into the well.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Now you have to choose."
Yeah, me or him.
You either tell them or you don't.
Right. And then the next morning at breakfast,
morning, they're scooping up water, putting it in pitchers for their breakfast, and everyone's like pouring their glass, and she doesn't know what to do. She's like,
and as she watches the little kid. There's a kid. He drinks it.
She feels
Everybody
really
drinks
bad.
it. And when Rutger Hauer's about to drink the plague-ridden water, she stops and she knocks it out of his hand. But lets everybody else.
So see, she did have feelings for him.
She did it because he could drop the D.
She's torn between.
He drops the D well.
Between the two.
He's digging tunnels.
Her Mandrake love and her.
And Rutger Hauer, her bad boy.
Her bad boy.
Yeah, who's got that Dutch
rapist, Stockholm syndrome love.
Yeah, but he protects her too. I mean, it was a brutal time. A brutal time.
I mean,
Who are we to judge?
They were barbarians.
Well, they weren't quite barbarians. That was a little earlier, but they are let's just say
Savages.
they have a morally casual attitude about life. Sort of.
Yeah. So so she knocks it out of his hand, and then she pours the pitcher out, and there's the chunk of meat, which I don't know how the chunk of meat got in that pitcher.
Well, because the thing was already down in the water, and when he threw it, just happened.
Yeah, but when she took the bucket, she poured it into the pitchers. She would have seen a chunk of meat go in there. Anyway, that part didn't have verisimilitude.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so they find the chunk of meat.
I thought that for the most part this movie does have pretty good verisimilitude.
Except for that part.
I mean, it is. I mean, this film constantly borders. It is a very thin line of cheesy B-moviness and A-list sensibilities.
It's true.
I mean, and one of the things I find charming about this movie, if you can find a movie that's full of rape and violence and plague and boils and dead stillborn children put into barrels and they're buried. I mean, there's a lot of brutality and hardcore.
Yeah.
But it skirts a thin line. I mean, there's definitely a B-movie sensibility at work, but that has it's delivered with A-list aplomb.
I agree.
And that's something that I think Paul Verhoeven does throughout his career.
Uh-huh.
Robocop, same thing. I mean, Robocop could be horribly cheesy, but it skirts a thin line. It's not horribly cheesy. And then Total Recall, again, could be complete cheeseball B-movie, but no, it's... I think his masterpiece is, of course, Basic Instinct. Basic Instinct, it's so... Paul Verhoeven is a very interesting filmmaker because nobody skirts that line more than he does. And what's funny is that he was such a before he came to America, Soldier of Orange, Katie Tipple, Turkish Delight. Like he was nominated for he might have won Soldier of Orange might have won Best Foreign Film. This was the 5th movie he made with Rutger Hauer. And 5th movie he made, and the last movie he made with Rutger Hauer, interestingly enough. But when he came to, he was this very well-regarded filmmaker, but in Holland, his movie Spetters caused a big problem for him.
Oh, really?
And it was not liked by the Dutch, and the government would finance films. So he wanted to come to America, and he moved to America after he made Flesh and Blood because he wanted to figure out how do American studios work and how could he get the money. So he wanted to become a populist American filmmaker. But this film, was the fact that that's what I love. I love, so at the end, what happens is that Hawkwood comes back. They lay siege to the...
Here's another part that didn't have verisimilitude. So they drink the water and instantly, like, 2 of them are like, ugh, and die within, I don't know, an hour.
Well, it was dead dog meat, so maybe they had it. But yes, it's very fast. But like if you look, there have been times in my life where I got food poisoning very fast, and I was spewing from both ends within like.
Okay, yeah, I guess it was a little touch of, but then they had boils too, so I don't know. Anyway, so half of them are dying from the plague, half of them are, freaking out and trying to leave.
And they blame, by the way, once they know they've got the plague, they blame Martin, and they all turn on Rutger Hauer. The ruffian band, Rutger Hauer's band of merry men.
Because they're like, we could have left yesterday, and you told us to stay, and now we all have the plague, and they tossed him into the well.
And even the priest.
Yeah,
turns,
the priest too.
Even the cardinal turns on him. And they throw him into the plague-ridden well.
And she looks into the well, and you can see she's concerned, like she's worried. But then she looks at the people, and she's like, "Oh, he's a dog."
Yeah, like I'm here, you're there. Fuck off, I'm going.
So again, her survival instincts kick in, and she's treats him like dirt, even though she doesn't want to.
It's true. And then Hawkwood shows up with his army, and there's a final battle, and all of our characters are either dying of the plague or they get killed in the final battle.
Right.
And Steven and Rutger Hauer, like Steven's trying to rescue Rutger Hauer. He's like, I'll throw you the key. Give me the whip. Give me the idol. I'll throw you the key kind of thing.
Right. Like, throw him the key and then I'll take you out of the well. And then he's like, well, he throws the key, but it lands on where he can't reach it.
Right.
And so he's like, well, you got to get me out of the well.
Yeah, and I mean, the details aren't important. There's that back and forth, this ongoing back and forth as in the midst of this final battle. Steven and Martin are fighting. Martin thinks he's been betrayed by Jennifer Jason Leigh, by Agnes, and he's going to kill Agnes.
So he goes after her, and he's trying to smother her to death. And then Steven shows up, and then they start fighting.
They have their final battle, these two men.
Yeah, and so then now they're both in this big tub drowning. Or, I mean, now she has to choose. Like, who is she going to save? And she does choose.
She chooses. And who does she choose?
She chooses Steven.
She chooses
Her
Steven.
Mandrake love.
Her Mandrake love. And they're like, the Mandrake was right. And they leave. Everybody, Rutger Hauer's band of merry men all die. They either die in battle or die of the plague.
There were a few left over, and they just kind of rejoin.
Except the girl. Except the one the other harlot. The other girl. She's like, not the one that...
Like, and she starts like flirting with the
the women always survive. They
and the mom and the kid, although the kid has the plague, but then Wormwood or whatever his name is, Hawkwood
knows how to.
Hawkwood like starts lancing
lancing the boils.
So he saves the boy.
Save the boy so the kid doesn't die. And as the castle is burning, we see Rutger Hauer as Martin. He escapes the castle.
He's escaping, and she sees him.
It doesn't say anything. And he gets to escape with like a bag of loot, and everyone else is dead.
And he just leaves, and she leaves with her Mandrake love, and it's happily ever after.
It kind of is a happy ending.
It is.
With all the death and plague and rape and bloodletting, murder, dead kids.
The soulmates end up together.
So it actually is kind of a happy ending.
It kind of is.
Kind of a happy ending.
It kind of is.
So what did you think of Flesh and Blood?
I actually really loved this film.
You loved it?
I did. I loved it.
Really?
Yeah. My 15-year-old self, I felt like I was 15 again watching this movie that I wasn't supposed to watch and liking all the parts that I'm not supposed to like.
So, wow.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
I know.
So what are some of the things...
Are you shocked?
Well, no, I'm not shocked because, what's interesting to me is this movie was made for $6.5 million, we found out. It was mostly financed by Orion Pictures, and it made no money in the United States.
Wow.
And I'll tell you my story. Now, let me tell you my story behind Flesh and Blood. I saw Flesh and Blood for the first time at the Seattle International Film Festival, which I believe at the time, it was the first place the movie had ever played in the United States. It was basically the premiere.
Okay.
And I sat behind Bruno Kirby and Jennifer Jason Leigh,
Wow.
like literally right behind.
Way.
Yeah, and I talked.
That's pretty cool.
I talked to Bruno Kirby, who's passed away now, but he was obviously Clemenza in Godfather 2, the young Clemenza. He was in When Harry Met Sally. He was in a lot of Barry Levinson's movies. So I talked to him and Jennifer Jason Leigh because I was sitting right behind them. Yeah, and I was literally talking because it was the premiere. And after the movie was over, there was I want to say it was the closing night film. I don't know if it was it must have been the 1985 Seattle International Film Festival, which that's the poster that we have, the film festival poster that I have hanging up.
Yeah.
I have a poster from the 9th Seattle. It was the 9th Seattle International Film Festival. No. It was the 10th Seattle International Film Festival. The poster I have is the 9th. So at the after party, I went up and talked to Paul Verhoeven for like an hour. And I was 16, 17.
Wow.
I was like 17 years old, and I was talking to him, and he went off on the MPAA. Like, no one would go up and talk to him, and he was gesticulating, and he was just like you would imagine. He was this Dutchman and had that accent just like you heard on the document. And he was so nice to me, and nobody else. People would come up and congratulate him, but I was having this totally riveting conversation with Paul Verhoeven, and
really cool.
And he was bitching about the American rating system.
Yeah.
And he was telling me about what he had to cut and all this, and how it was so stupid that you can kill anybody you want. You show a boob, the naked boob, then you get an R rating or an X rating. And a follow-up to that was in 1985. In 1994,
Yeah.
I was working with Peter Billingsley. Don't Shoot Your Eye Out, Kid.
Yes.
Star of Christmas Story. We
Yes.
worked on Arcade for 6 months. He lived on Burton Way, which is right next to 3rd Avenue, right by Cedar Sinai.
Okay.
And he had we're in his station wagon. He had a station wagon. And we're literally about to turn onto 3rd, and we're waiting right by Cedar Sinai to turn onto 3rd Avenue to go down right by the Beverly Center.
Yeah.
And in front of our car on a crosswalk is Paul Verhoeven.
You're kidding.
Paul Verhoeven just walking down the road, walking across right in front of our car. I roll down. I go, Peter, roll down the window, because I'm the passenger side. I go, roll down the window. Or no, I rolled down the window. I rolled on the passenger side, and I said, excuse me, Mr. Verhoeven. And he turns and he looks, and he goes in his Dutch way. He's like, hello, yes? Because he was like shocked that anyone knew who he was. And I said, Mr. Verhoeven, my name is Rob Burnett. I met you at the 10th Seattle International Film Festival. He walks over, and he leans on the car. And he talks to us for like 45 minutes.
Wow.
And at the time, he told us all about how he couldn't get The Crusades made. He was going to make a movie, The Crusades, that was going to star Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he just talked to us. And when I told him that I was the kid that he met at the Seattle Film Festival, and now I'm in LA, and I was working on independent movies.
Did he remember you?
Oh my God. He completely remembered. That's why he stood and talked to us for 45 minutes.
Wow.
He couldn't believe it. He couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah.
And then the only reason he looks at his watch and goes, oh, I gotta go meet my wife. Like he was wherever his wife was, like at the hotel or what, I don't know.
She was like waiting.
He was walking there. He had no idea, and he was just going, couldn't have been nicer. The second time I met Paul Verhoeven,
the second time?
I mean, the third time. The third time, I was on the Columbia Pictures lot.
Okay.
And I think I don't know why I was there. I was wandering around the Columbia Pictures lot, and I want to say I was on the sets for Hook. We were just looking at the sets for Hook, and they were making Starship Troopers. I don't know. Maybe it was 2 different times. It might have been for Last Action Hero. I don't remember exactly what. But I'm walking down the streets. I'm walking down one of the streets, and there's a trailer. Like a trailer. The trailer to the door is open of this trailer, and it was Paul Verhoeven lying down on the couch that was in his trailer. But the door was open, so I could look in, and he was lying on the couch, and his head was there, and I was like, Mr. Verhoeven. And he looks up, and he goes, I remember you. And so we're there on the Columbia lot, which is now the Sony lot. We're on the lot, and I was down, and he was on the couch, and we had a conversation about meeting on 3rd Street
That's amazing.
in 1994, or 93, and then also, so it's 96, probably 3 years later, and the Seattle Film Festival. And he was very impressed that he met me at the Seattle Film Festival, and our last meeting, I was on the Columbia lot like he was. So, he didn't really know why I was there. I don't remember. But he just assumed now we were peers. Like now we were, because I was telling him, because he remembered that Peter and I were making Arcade. We were editing Arcade, and and he remembered that.
That is so cool.
So there you go. There's I've even before I met him, I had seen The Fourth Man at the Seattle International Film Festival. So Paul Verhoeven, I have a personal connection.
That is really cool.
So there you go. That's a true story.
That is very cool.
Yep.
Very cool. So what did you think of this film?
Well, I mean, when I saw this movie, I really loved it because it for that reason, it felt like, I mean, it is kind of an adventure story, and I liked the evocation of the period. Like, I liked Conan the Barbarian. Like, it kind of reminded me of Conan.
I loved Conan the Barbarian.
Conan came out in 82. This was 85. And there had been a lot of other swashbuckling sword and sorcery movies that were not all that great.
I didn't care. I loved all that stuff.
Well, Sword and the Sorcerer, and it was, but this felt like like I said, it teetered on the edge of cheeseball, but it's not. I mean, it still felt like there's a shot in this movie at the very beginning. There's a shot of this movie where you see it's a tracking shot, and they're outside the city walls, which is actually a city in Spain. There's nothing in the city really, but they were outside there. It's on location. It's like an hour outside of Madrid. And it's a long tracking shot, and you see the city under siege and the soldiers, and the tracking shot ends with a big sign of the cross,
right?
Like the cross, like a knight would carry or something. It's been planted in the ground, and the Verhoeven's, he's obsessed with Catholicism, and he wrote a book about Jesus.
Really?
Yeah, and so it was this battle scene, but then it ended with this religious iconography, and I'm like, okay, I love that. I mean, I'm not Catholic. I'm a Jew, but I love Catholicism. I've always loved Catholicism.
I went to an all-girl Catholic high school.
Well, maybe that's why I like you. I mean,
I wasn't Catholic, though.
I love everything. I love that Catholicism informed vampirism. I love The Exorcist. You know, anything. You give me wars and bloodletting and the devil and vampires and Catholics. I don't know why, but so I'm like, maybe because my best friend growing up with Jeff Swafford, and he was Catholic, so I would go to church and see the communion, and I like the whole. And I understand. Everyone's going to be like, what about Catholic priests? No, I'm like, no. It's like capitalism. Capitalism should work. It should work. Catholicism, despite all the other craziness, I like Catholicism. So this movie is full of Catholic imagery. They're always like framing Martin around a burning halo that's like a crown of thorns or something. Yeah, like St. Martin. There's all of this Catholic imagery in this movie that I just dig.
Yeah.
Even though it's blood drenched and I dig it.
Lots of sex and lots of nudity and lots of blood.
And Catholicism.
Yeah. That all goes together.
It does go together.
It really does.
I enjoy it. So yes, I really do like this movie a great deal. And watching it again, I'm struck by how much fun this movie is. I mean, for the time, it's still, even though it was 85, it's not a huge budget movie, but it's still a period piece, and they're inherently expensive.
Yeah.
So I really like this movie a lot. And watching it again made me realize how much I still like this movie.
Cool.
Yeah, I really like this movie a lot. And I'm glad, it's funny, I do own this movie. I own 2 copies of this movie, 2 different copies of this movie. So, I'm glad that viewers picked this for us to watch.
I am so happy they picked this.
I am too. I think it's good. So, we have people that are writing in. Now it's when I put my glasses on and they're, I become the old man. There are people there are people sending us in chats. There's like a 4-part chat. Somebody sent us in let's start with this 4-part. A spectator from Vegas sends in. Oh, hang on. Let me zip over to this. So a spectator sends in a 4-parter, or maybe one or two, but it keeps going on. Okay. A spectator sends in a tip and says, I live in Vegas, currently under quarantine. It looks like the May 1st reopening of all businesses is going to be postponed until we're in phase 1. We've reached our peak, but we're not in declining in infections yet. I'm bummed out because I was really looking forward to getting back to work. Well, after looking at your mayor talking about what she wants to do, I don't know, man. That Anderson Cooper performance wasn't great.
Uh-oh.
If you and John are ever in Vegas, there's an independently owned bar called John Cutter's that I work at. There's tables set outside with a beautiful view of Red Rock Mountains. Dude, all you had to say is that you worked at a bar. I'm in. I'm coming. We'll come. We'll go.
It'll be fun.
We'll go to Vegas. I have friends in Vegas. My biological mother worked in Vegas for most half of her life. We serve high-quality food and have the most beautiful and friendly servers. We're located by the Red Rock Casino all the way in Summerlin. Very nice area to walk around. A lot of nice parks and walking paths. Parks and walking paths are beautiful, but you work at a bar. I'll see you soon. Thank you. And by the way, thanks for supporting the channel. It's also a great place to take a date. Elizabeth would love it. I just want to put that on your radar. It's a nice hidden gem here in Vegas, and I really love the area. I miss getting off my graveyard shift and walking to Red Rock Casino.
Well, you've sold it.
To catch a flick at the theater. We're coming. Not only that, you can drink all the time in Las Vegas. It's not like it's 2 o'clock. We can just stay up all night. A flick at the theater. Sometimes I would just walk around the area to walk to a little park in a neighborhood and watch the sunrise. I really miss that, and I'm ready to get back to work. Let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
Well, a spectator. Let's drink to a spectator.
Yes.
Cheers to a spectator.
Yes.
Here's to you, a spectator. No, we gotta look at that camera.
Oh yeah.
Here's to you, spectator. And I'm all about it. We should close graveyard shift. We'll come drink, and then we'll all go.
Yep.
And we'll be hammered, and we'll watch the sunrise.
Yes.
And then we should drive out to the Valley of Fire and find where James T. Kirk is buried.
Ooh.
Because he was buried in the Valley of Fire.
Well, that sounds like a perfect date.
It sounds like a great date to me. We'll go We'll drink at a spectator's bar, and then we'll go find where Captain Kirk is buried on Viridian 3.
Let's do it.
Mukbang. Mukbang is here. Sends in a super chat. Mukbang is here watching the film. Mukbang will refer to himself in the third person and have lots to say. All right, Mukbang. Flesh and Throg is here. Should I lest we forget? Cheers out to Patrick, to Throg.
Yes.
Because I want you to know that I wiped my bum today with your generous contribution to our well-being.
To our cleanliness.
Honest to God, I have to say, knowing that we have a supply of toilet paper, at least for the next, couple days.
Yeah, couple days.
Well, you never know. With the girls that live in this house, I felt pretty good about the fact that it was one, I didn't realize I was stressed about it.
Yeah.
The things that I've been stressed about in this quarantine are toilet paper, dog, and cat food.
That's true.
I mean, I figure we'll survive. We can drink water. If we had nothing to eat, we can do these shows. We
still need to have wine for the show.
Well, that's it. I mean, wine, but we're getting it. Naked Wines is delivering.
We are.
We get it from, and now you're having me buy more.
Yeah, please buy more.
I'll buy more. Well, no, I mean, I'm skirting the edge. I'm still making a little bit of money. I mean, luckily I've been working on I've been working on a couple of jobs, so that's been good. But I'm I live my life thinking, okay, one grocery store visit, and can I buy a sixer of beer and some wine?
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
You have to decide. You have to say, should I get this or that? That's
I got the Elephant Man 4K disc yesterday from the UK. I was stressing out about that because for 2 weeks it had come out.
Well, that's a whole bottle of wine right there.
Yeah, but I didn't know if they were going to ship it to me. They will not ship. The Japanese Amazon will not ship the 4K disc of Akira. They won't do it.
Why?
And I don't know, and I had already pre-ordered the 4K of the Elephant Man. The Elephant Man has not come out on Blu-ray.
But you got it.
I did get it, but for 2 weeks, it said that it was there, and they have this little line that goes halfway to dispatched, and I'm like, why aren't you dispatching? I mean, I literally,
But you got it.
I did get it.
But guess what we're not spending money on?
More Blu-rays.
Gas.
Oh, yeah, we're not spending money. Well, that's a bummer, because gas is so low. It'd be fun to go to the gas station and buy...
Yeah, you got gas in the car 3 weeks ago, and it's still full.
We haven't left. The only place
there's a tiny little tick.
The only places you and I have gone are
the grocery
store, and we went to your art supply store where you drive up, you place your order, and they put it in your trunk.
Yeah, and that's less than a mile. That's
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I finished the entire Blu-ray, all my special features for The Hills Run Red. Crazy. Yep. People are like, what the hell are they talking about? Mukbang sends in another super chat and says, let R&B select films. Mukbang is 40 minutes in, and Mukbang will finish it, but only out of duty. R&B should select films from now on. In my humble opinion, it's unwatchable. What? Mukbang.
Oh, wow. Really?
Well, I mean, I can understand that. I mean, look, nowadays... when you hear medieval movies, we're so sophisticated that the sort of the skirting the B-movie nature of this film, I can understand. Look, I always tell people that if you're a kid, Mukbang's probably younger than we are, but if you're a kid and you're born in the era where Jurassic Park already exists, if you've already got Jurassic Park, then going back and watching Valley of the Gwangi or Beast from 20,000 Fathoms or The Lost World, you're never going to be able to do it because you've already got Jurassic Park. So you're like, I can't. So when you already have Lord of the Rings or Warcraft or any of these other medieval movies, it's going to be tough to go back and watch this.
I love the medieval movies, only because I grew up with them, and this one especially because I didn't get to see it.
Well, I still like Mukbang. I'll always love him, even if he doesn't like this movie.
Yeah.
And I think this is what's important to understand is no one's obligated to like the movies that we show here. They don't
absolutely
they don't have to. I mean, what when we first started talking about the show, when I first brought up the idea of doing a show, the point was to take you on a journey.
Yes.
A journey of movies that you might not have seen from all different eras.
Yes.
Like we're jumping around and
it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. But you being an artist, a fine artist yourself, you're much more open to understanding the different eras, because art history spans hundreds of years.
Yes.
And the funny thing about art history is that, you could look at paintings that were done 100 years apart, and you could still, because technology didn't exist, so it's unfettered by the quick advances in technology that film has been.
Well, for centuries, it was basically classical painting up until the Industrial Revolution. And then once that hit, then things started going much quicker and changing much quicker. But for centuries, it was basically the same type of traditional painting.
Yeah. Well, movies are never like that. I mean, movies were always subject to the rapid advance of technology.
Well, because it didn't come about until...
Right, but I mean, the
Industrial Revolution.
But movies every era are really different. So if you go
They
back,
are.
like if you look at Flesh and Blood,
And it changes quickly.
it changes quickly, and you look at 30 years later, you look at Lord of the Rings or something, and the technology and I mean this film. What I love about this film is there's not an optical shot in the whole film. There's not a visual effect in this movie.
True.
It's all practical effects. It's also, there are no sweeping shots, and if you don't buy into it, like for instance, Steven looks like a pretty boy. I mean, with his haircut.
Oh, yeah.
And his, like, I look at him and I'm like, I get
He's
why
the prince.
Right, he's the prince, but he looks like a prince of an animated show.
No,
As-
I thought he was perfect.
Well, yeah, boom, chicka, boom, bow. Yeah, I bet you thought he was perfect. All right. He's a handsome devil. But see, to my mind, I think Rutger Hauer is the supreme example of maledom.
He also was like...
Yeah, Rutger Hauer. And he's Dutch. He drops the D.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with his blue eyes and...
Yeah, because
blonde hair.
Yeah, the Dutchmen always have the big units, big hands.
He had huge hands.
Yeah, that he's he unfurls like bam. You never see it, but I mean I think you do in Katie Tipple. Or no, in Turkish Delight, he's with Monique Van de Ven.
And?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean I'm talking about Rutger Hauer, but Monique Van de Ven is. And Renee Stoutenbeck, like I'm a fiend for Dutch actresses.
Oh, really?
The Dutch actresses of the 70s and the 80s.
Oh, okay.
One day we'll have to watch Fourth Man. Anyway, Mukbang says, we all love your stories, Rob, about talking to actors and directors or remembering experiences. Thank you. Well, you're right, Mukbang. Thank you. But you know what I would thank you more for? If you like this movie. But I understand.
No, he doesn't have to.
He loves Prince.
Or she. We don't know if it's a he or she.
We don't know if
Mukbang?
Mukbang is a he or she.
No.
It's true. I don't want to make any...
So let's just say they. We don't know.
We don't know. Oh, now we're going to play the pronoun game? We're going to play the pronoun game for Mukbang.
Well, they are referencing themselves in the third person. So.
They are. Well, it's okay, Mukbang. You can do that
they.
tonight. It's true. By the way, I don't know who told me to watch Questlove's Prince videos. Oh, my God. There is a rabbit hole. 5 hours. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyway, Jackson Perez sends in a super chat and says, I would have followed you to the end, my brother, my captain, my king. Still my favorite movie trilogy of all time, and it's not even close. Well, okay. That's good. I think that's good. I would assume. Recently got a box collection of all of Warner Brothers' greatest hits from the 20s to today. What should I watch? It's over 120 films. Oh, that box set is dope. Well,
how much did that cost?
Well, you got to watch Casablanca.
Absolutely.
That's what I would start with. Warner Brothers, yeah, there's so many great movies in that, but I would watch Casablanca. Wow. All the gangster movies, all the Warner Brothers gangster movies, and then Casablanca. I can't even imagine. There's so many good ones.
Wow, they sell a set of 120 movies.
But I think I have most of them. Except for the older ones.
Yeah,
so.
You don't need that. Please don't buy that.
Well, I could buy it. I mean,
You don't need that.
Here, I think there's still a little bit of wine left.
I would like some.
There you go.
Thank you.
I'll kill that bottle. Yeah, so, absolutely. Kaz Graphics is here. Kaz Graphics. Wow, Kaz. Thank you for that super chat, sir. Cheers to Kaz. Thank you very much. Cheers, Ace.
Yes.
You didn't announce yourself as Ace.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, why don't you tell the folks at home who you are? You're supposed to say,
yes.
And who are you?
I am the arbiter of cinematic excellence.
That's right. So Ace. So when I ask you who you are and you say Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell, the arbiter, you have to say
arbiter of cinematic excellence.
So can you turn it, like, do it sing-songy, like Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell, and then the arbiter of cinematic. Can you put that in a sentence and kind of give it a sing-songy flair?
I will try.
Try it now.
I am Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell, the arbiter of cinematic excellence.
There you go. Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. That's good. I like that. Very musical.
How'd I do?
I thought you did well. Okay. It's really up to them to decide.
How did I do?
I think you probably did well. Cheers, Ace and R&B, a bottle of wine on me. Thanks for the entertainment,
yes,
Kaz Graphics.
You.
Well,
thank
again, thank you, Kaz. I didn't read that whole thing, but yes. That is fantastic, and I will do just that. Austin Hernandez sends in a super chat. If you're bored and want to drive, I got work for you at my store, Rob. My customers need some movie knowledge, some awesome positivity, and endless energy. Well, Austin, we need to make that trip again. Yes. By the way, I have the video. I'm putting it up on the 400th episode of...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You never did anything with that.
Because I've been saving it for the 400th episode.
Okay, that's pretty cool. You got to put that up.
Oh, I am.
Okay.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. No, I've got... For those of you, the 400th episode of Robservations is coming on Friday. I am going to do a 400-minute show. I have videos people have sent in. I've got like 20 videos. I have now done interviews. I'll have 4 interviews with people, including an amazing interview with Brian Fuller, an interview with one of my idols, Bill Sienkiewicz, Carrie David, the director of Breaking Their Silence, a movie about women on the front lines of the poaching war. And it looks like, I have one more interview I don't want to say yet because I haven't done it yet. I'm doing it tomorrow. So be there, and I'm going to be generating...
Sounds exciting.
Earning money for charity, different charities, including Gary Sinise's charity that for our military men and also first responders during this time. So that should be cool. That should be fun. Yes, Jackson Perez. That is Boromir's, the quote when Boromir dies. Yes. Oh. I mean, it was Lord of the Rings.
Right.
But no, I Jackson, I worked on hang on a second. No, that's the same thing. Jackson, I was going to say the Warner Brothers box. As you know, I worked on Lord of the Rings for 2.5 years, a long time. And actually, one of the pieces I did for the Lord of the Rings disc was on digital grading, and I used a lot of footage from Boromir's final, when Boromir dies.
Oh yeah.
At the end of Fellowship.
Yeah.
I love Boromir. I love Sean Bean.
Me too.
Boromir. There's one of my favorite scenes in the Lord of the Rings movies is in Fellowship, when Boromir talks to Aragorn outside of the Mines of Moria. Before they go in, they're on the water and they talk about the world of men and yes. Boromir. It's a great scene. Mm-hmm. It's a very good scene. Very, 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 very good scene. So, I mean, we're almost at the end of our hour.
Whoa.
Almost at the end of our hour.
That went fast.
It did go fast. We talked a lot about, we don't have to end right this second, but and before we get to our bottoms up scale of Flesh and Blood, are there any other thoughts about Flesh and Blood that strike you? Anything that anything we haven't covered, or things that you might want to mention?
Well, this really gave me a feeling of nostalgia.
Really? Yeah. I know, but you've been talking about times.
I watched this through my 15-year-old eyes.
Ah. But did it make you think of your dad, who is no longer with us?
It did, which I try not to think about too much because it's painful. But I think if I'd been older, he might have...
You know what? You didn't tell me. You didn't tell everybody. You didn't tell everybody what happened later.
Yeah, later.
You'd rented the tape, and what did you discover?
Later, after I was supposed to be in bed, I noticed that he continued to watch the film.
Yeah, so your dad knew what's up.
Yeah, he did.
Your dad knew what's up.
He wanted to see it. He just didn't want me to see it because my great aunt, had made a fuss.
Oh, the great aunt steps in and always messes it up for the kids.
She was like, "Shtayeto," which means, "What is this?"
So wait, you'll speak Serbo-Croatian, but you won't speak French.
Right, 30,000 subs and I'll speak French.
But you'll speak Serbo-Croatian?
Yeah.
By the way, that reminds me, as I my VHS tape of one of my favorite Serbo-Croatian movies.
Which
here
I
with-
have not seen.
I know. I've got this on Laserdisc. Hey Baba Reba, which is not what it's called in Yugoslavia, or the former Yugoslavia.
That is, guys. So I remember my dad mentioning.
No, it's
that
not
film.
called this. It's not called
Yeah,
this.
it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
No,
is.
it's not. It's called something totally different.
I know my dad saying that name.
Yeah, because this is how it was released in America, and your dad was already here when this movie came out in America.
Well, anyway, I've heard him say that title.
This movie is great, and if you ever want it, it's a great film, and I love it.
Well, we can't even watch it because it's a VHS.
I have a VHS player.
Does it work?
I don't know.
Do you have this on Blu-ray or on DVD?
I don't know. No, I have it on Laserdisc. I don't have it on.
So there's
It's not on Blu-ray.
There's no way for us to see this.
No, it's on DVD.
But
I
you
have the
don't-
DVD somewhere. It's in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll find it.
One day I want to see that.
It's a delightful film. It's a delightful movie. Senor Ashish says, do you and Elizabeth frequent Stater Brothers grocery stores? They have amazing deals on wines. Usually buy 4 more bottles and get 20 to 30% off the total wine purchase.
Purchase?
How much wine have I had?
Purchase?
I stocked up a month ago, and I'm an assortment of red blends. Senor Ashish, well, thank you for that, first of all. We do. We have a Stater Brothers literally
Right up
around the
the
corner and
street.
up the street. Like, when we say up the street, like, we really mean right up the street.
Literally up the street.
Literally up the street.
So we went there.
Now, you talk about Stater Brothers, how you felt about Stater Brothers.
So we went there 3 weeks, a month ago.
No, like 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
And it was after we went to Vaughn's.
No. We went to Trader Joe's, which is where I normally shop. But the line was so long,
Right.
and our show was coming on, and there wasn't enough time to do Trader Joe's. So I was like, okay, I heard that Stater Brothers, there's no line. So we went to Stater Brothers. Of course, there was no line because they weren't being careful. They were just letting everybody in, hordes of people. Nobody was wearing masks. They weren't sanitizing anything. I was freaked out.
Yes, but let's talk about what happened while we were in Stater Brothers.
Oh, yes.
Why don't you tell everybody what happened
While we were in
Stater Brothers?
Stater Brothers, somebody recognized you.
Somebody recognized me from
Which
the
happens.
show. Which
It
happens.
happens.
You've seen that happen a couple times.
Somebody who watches the show,
Somebody watches the show,
watches your show.
and it's so funny now. I'm Austin.
He was working there.
He was working there, and it was again. I'm always trying to get, you know. Obviously, we have now had. This is the third viewer, and I said.
Oh, yes. So I was like, okay, after Rob talked to him, I was like, Rob, go ask him if there's any toilet paper. So Rob went back to the guy. And
I mean,
was like,
Augie already hooked us up. He was the first.
Right.
He drove down.
Right. And then
And you'll see the video on the 400th episode of Robservations.
Right. And then I said, Rob, go ask him if there's any toilet paper or when we could come back to when there is when does the toilet paper come in? So he went and asked him, and the guy said, well, there's no toilet paper right now. And then he went in the back and he like dug around
And he brought
and
me.
he
It was
found this tiny little pack of 4 rolls.
You know what? It works.
But I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. So yes, he
So
found
I have to
us-
say, the watchers of this show, and you will see, we took a journey. It was so much fun. I don't want to ruin it because the video is pretty good. It turned out great.
Of?
When we went down to our favorite neighborhood
Oh, right.
store.
Yeah, but we're talking about Stater Brothers right
Yeah,
now.
no, we're talking about. But I've got it's just funny that it's a recurring throg. It's a recurring thing on this particular show that we're getting
About the toilet paper.
That's about the toilet paper.
Yeah.
It's-
Anyway, we got toilet paper from a very nice worker at Stater Brothers, even though I was freaked out about.
Yeah, and I got to say, we got to give it up to our local Vaughn's.
Vaughn's is very clean.
And they stop you before you go in, and
Trader Joe's is very careful.
yeah.
I was freaked out by Stater Brothers. But that was 3 weeks ago, so maybe now things are different. I don't know.
Yeah, but I do agree you can get good deals on wine because we did get good deals on wine.
We bought wine that day.
We bought a lot of
We bought
wine
a
for
lot
that
of
day.
wine.
Yeah.
Although the best deals are at Trader Joe's.
Austin says, "Oh my God, I hope you edited the hell out of that video. I was so tongue-tied, laugh out loud, and the camera made me nervous as hell. You guys are welcome anytime. This time I'm making my famous pancakes for you." Okay, first of all,
Pancakes.
so Austin, Augie, invited us down to his family business. They have this incredible grocery store.
It's like
that's
a neighborhood grocery store.
Neighborhood grocery store. It's 100 years old, but his family acquired it in 1980, and he works there, and it's his father's store, and his cousin works there, and it's totally a family business. But it's awesome because they don't just have groceries; they've got meats, and they've got foods, and they make. I mean, I want to sit there, and we didn't have enough time, but they make like.
Well, I was in the car with the dogs.
Well, the dogs, yeah, the dogs in the car, and it was the only time. That was the only time in 30 days we've been on the freeway.
Yeah, and it was empty.
It was empty since we've been. It was the only time I've been on the freeway.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah, so I of course took my phone, and Anthony, Augie, you were very nice to accommodate me and allow me. And your cousin was a little freaked out, but your dad was great. It's a pretty cool video, and you'll see.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's good. Claudius is here. Bonsoir, Robert and Elizabeth. Pardon me, Ami. After 20 minutes of Flesh and Bone, that's a different movie. Flesh and Bone's a different movie. Flesh and Blood, I had to switch to Excalibur. I immediately felt refreshed. Excalibur is simultaneously a romantic painting and an MTV music video. Flesh and Blood seemed like a 70s TV show. See, I know, I get it.
Man.
I understand. I know. I do not fault.
I don't know if I've seen Excalibur. Have I?
You have not.
I don't know. Maybe I have.
No, you haven't.
Maybe I have.
I don't know.
What's it about?
Excalibur.
Well, yeah.
King Arthur's sword.
Right. Who's in it?
Let's see. Nigel. Why am I drawing a blank on this? John Borman's daughter. Gabriel Byrne's in it. He plays Uther Pendragon. Patrick Stewart is in it. Liam Neeson is in it.
Oh. When did that come out?
It came out in 1981.
Oh, I don't know.
Directed by John Borman, who directed Zardoz. As a matter of fact, we should do a Zardoz. I mean, we have to watch Long Kiss Goodnight and Zardoz. But we could watch Excalibur and Zardoz because there's interesting parallels.
Oh.
Why am I drawing a blank on who plays Merlin? Nigel. I can't believe I'm. Who's in Exorcist 3? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name.
I think you missed a super chat.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, Anthony. You missed that one.
No, Claudius. Oh wait, did I?
No, you missed Anthony.
Anthony. Wait, hey Rob, you lived in New Zealand. Oh wait, I'm.
Yeah.
Anthony Gonzalez says, Rob, you lived in New Zealand. Have you seen Whale Rider or Once Were Warriors? Whining about movies needs some Kiwi cinema. Anthony, I've seen both of those movies. Whale Rider. I even have the soundtrack to Whale Rider.
Oh.
And Whale Rider was I'm just the director of Whale Rider has just directed something new, and I can't remember what it is she has done. Once Were Warriors was directed by Lee Tamahori, and it's amazing. It's about the modern Maori culture.
Oh.
But the family life, it's good. Once Were Warriors is great. If you like Kiwi cinema, one of my favorite science fiction movies is a Kiwi movie, The Quiet Earth, made by Jeff Murphy, a second unit director on Lord of the Rings, and Utu. He made Utu, which is an incredible action film. So yes, I have seen both movies. Keisha Orinko, the girl with the three names, the girl who stars in Whale Rider. I can't.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, I can't help you.
Keisha Castle Hughes. Is that the name of the girl that starred in Whale Rider? I think it is. I'm not sure. But yes, Anthony, that is a good call. I'm a big fan of Kiwi cinema. 100%. Austin Hernandez, Augie goes on and says, we all care about your booties. Everybody cares.
Aww,
let's drink to our booties.
Care about our booties.
Oh, let's care. Okay. Yes. Claudius sends in another tip. I will not yuck your yum. Love your love for this film. Your stories about the film were far more interesting than the movie itself. Oh. By the way, we should have a little champagne for your 400th episode. Oh, I think there's going to be stuff. People are going to come and go. The reason that I mean, I've got these interviews to play. If I get them all, I mean, they're a lot longer.
But it's not just the interviews. You're going to actually, do a show.
Oh no, the interviews only take a part of the show.
Right.
I mean, 400 minutes is like 6 hours.
Yeah.
It's 6 hours and 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
I'm going to do a 6 hour and 40 minute show. I mean,
Which reminds me, it's on Friday, right?
It's on Friday.
So we have to move whining about movies
To Saturday.
To Saturday.
Yeah. Or you could come in and do a whining about movies on as part of the 400 show.
Well, I'd suggested that, and you didn't like really go for it, so I didn't know.
Oh no, we should do that. We should do No, we should do that anyway. Cuz we'll do a whining about movies on Saturday, but we'll do a special
at the end.
we'll do a special thing for the 400th.
We'll do our whining about movies.
You'll come in and we'll figure it out. We'll do something special.
Ooh,
live.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Royce Freeman. Oh wait, hang on. Claudius also says Excalibur stars Helen Mirren as Morgan Le Fay. Oh. Yes,
wow,
it does.
I need to see this.
Helen Mirren in I love when the young Morgan Le Fay says in Excalibur, "Are you the mother and the father now, Merlin?" So good.
Okay, I need to see
Anal Nathrach Uthras Bethar Dothiel Yende. That's the charm of making from Excalibur.
How come I haven't seen this?
I don't know. I don't know. Everyone's seen Excalibur, haven't they? Well, that's what this show's about.
I don't know.
Royce Freeman sends in. I just watched Crash, the Paul Haig written film about racism. Thoughts on how they depicted racism in all races and everyone was prejudiced. Well, that's kind of a change of direction. You know, I thought it was a little heavy-handed, a little didactic, probably. I mean, I think we all kind of knew that. I know it won Best Picture.
I liked that.
It's Paul Haggis, by the way. Paul Haggis, not Paul Haggis, who also wrote a Bond film. Yeah. So anyway.
I like that film, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I mean, it's depiction of racism that we're all I think it was for me. It was just a little heavy-handed. Like I've never. You know, I grew up in a family where my parents never said a bad word about anyone. And watching Star Trek and growing up, I can't abide racism. I mean, I've always liked, to me, people that are different colors than myself are awesome.
Okay, but you and I grew up similarly.
Yeah.
Okay, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
No, of course it does. Racism, but in that movie, I just thought it was a little heavy-handed because but it's. I mean, I thought it's an interesting film. Obviously, it won Best Picture, so you know.
I loved the way it was put together. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen it, and
right.
You know how I remember details. But I remember really liking them.
Yeah, no. Unless you watch them 100 times. But no, Crash, I mean, I don't dislike Crash like a lot of people do. I think Crash was...
A lot of people dislike Crash?
Yeah, it's considered... because it's too heavy-handed.
I have to see it again. I remember really liking it.
Well, you should. Joshua Levesque says, hey, Rob, it stinks that your Robservations live stream didn't work today. My computer crashed twice.
It was so hot.
It was hot. It had to do with power and all that. It came down. I couldn't get the computer came down. I don't know if it was the power in here. Maybe it was just the computer was hot. I don't know.
But we need to get AC in here.
Yeah. Hey, Rob, stinks that your Observations live stream didn't work today. What are your thoughts on the new female-led Star Wars series? It's going to have the Russian Doll showrunner, Leslie Headland. So that gives me hope that it'll be good. First of all, we love Russian Doll. So
my God, that show's so good.
For those of you who haven't heard, they announced a really interesting,
I haven't heard.
An alternate. Well, it was going to be on my show today. It was my first story because the story dropped. So there's going to be a new Star Wars TV show that apparently takes place in an alternate Star Wars universe.
Star Wars?
Yeah.
We were talking about Russian Doll.
The co-creator of Russian Doll is creating this new Star Wars show.
And what is this Star Wars show?
All they said, it's a female-led Star Wars show that deals with martial arts and mysticism, and it takes place in an alternate Star Wars universe. So it might not be canonical, and
I could go for that.
It sounds interesting to me.
I could go for that.
I don't know much about it because we don't know what what is the plot or what's going on. We don't really know.
I thought you were going to say there's going to be a follow-up to Russian Doll.
No, but the co-creator of Russian Doll is the showrunner. So, if they hired her, she probably had a take and pitched something. So I think that's great. Senor Ashish says, have no fear. Stater Brothers mandates all employees wear masks. So do 99% of the customers I see. Gloves too. Reusable bags are banned. Stater Brothers gives out free reusable plastic bags now. Checkout lines are marked for social distance, and each courier has plexiglass barriers.
Oh, good.
Well, yeah, because
okay,
we were, admittedly, we were there when it was early on.
Yeah, so, okay, that makes me feel so much better, because it is literally right up the street.
And it is great. It's a great store. It has lots of great stuff.
It does. And they do have great deals on wine.
Yeah. No, I liked stuff.
Well, that's good to hear, because now we can go back.
Yeah, well, there you go. Now we'll go back. Hey, Timbula the Spider Monkey's here and sends in a super chat and says, my last shift is Sunday night. Positives. I'll have plenty of time to watch you live now. Well, that's good. But it's bad that your last shift is Sunday night. Oh. Does that mean you're out of work entirely?
Oh.
Because Australia is like shutting down for a long time.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'm in that boat.
Royce Freeman sends in a super chat and says, Paul Verhoeven is one of my favorite directors. Me too. I want to see his non-American films. What did you think of Black Box and Elle? Oh, we saw Elle together. The movie about Isabelle Huppert who gets... You were not a fan.
He made that?
Yeah.
I hated that film.
I know you did.
That film made me so angry.
Now, by the way, I love Black Box, also put out by 101 Films, which I have that beautiful, beautiful... Black Box is amazing.
What's that about?
World War II.
Okay.
When I was growing up watching Dutch movies, it didn't matter what the movie was about. Sometime it would have something to do with how the Nazis fucked the Dutch. The Dutch hate the Nazis so much. I love that about them. Oh. And I love that about it. It just seemed like I love that. Black Book is great. It's great.
See that.
It's great. You would love Black Book. It's really, really good.
But Elle?
I have to say I was a little disappointed in Elle. You know why? Because Paul Verhoeven was not skirting the B movie. It was really...
oh, no, but the...
I know. I know.
Ugh. No.
I know.
I don't like that film. Don't like it.
All right, well, we're way over time. We're 20 minutes over, almost. 17 minutes.
I think you got another super chat.
No, it's Royce. We just read it.
Oh. Okay.
We just read it. We got to end the show. We can't just stay here all night. I got work because I got work to do for the 400th. I got interviews to edit. We got stuff to do.
We haven't eaten dinner.
I have no more wine left. I got one more swallow. Do you have anything in there?
No, it's gone.
Well, our bottoms up scale. Paul Verhoeven's first English language film, Flesh and Blood, on a scale of 1 glass to 4 glasses of wine. Why 4 glasses of wine?
Oh, yes, because there are 4 glasses of wine in a bottle.
So, Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell.
Yes.
The arbiter of cinematic excellence. On a scale of 1 to 4 glasses of wine, on the bottoms up scale, what would be your bottoms up... what would be your bottoms up review or score? Your bottoms up score for Paul Verhoeven's 1985 English language debut as a director...
This is hard because...
Flesh and Blood.
I hate to give it a perfect score because it's not perfect. But...
Well, Claude's going to be pissed.
It plays on my nostalgia. Like, I was 15 when I wanted to see this, and I only saw a little smidge of it. And so...
Look, you know what? It doesn't matter. You can give it whatever you want to give it. It's up to you.
I will give it 3.75.
Wow, 3.75 out of 4. Claude and Candida are going like, what?
Well, only because...
No, it's okay.
I spent years wanting to see this film.
I'm very proud of you. I think that's a very valid score.
Thank you.
Cheers to you. We're empty glasses.
I know it might not make sense to anybody, but to me...
doesn't have to make sense.
It fulfilled many years of longing to see this film.
Well, and that's what Robservations...
So thank you for choosing this film.
That's what the Burnettwork does. That's what WINEning About Movies does. And we have to thank our viewers and thank the Richard for running a poll.
Yes, thank you
Now,
for running the poll.
I have to
and
remind...
thank you for voting for this film, even though you didn't know that I wanted to see it when I was 15. And you finally made it happen for me.
I just want to thank the Richard for running both, well, being such a great guy running the Post-Geek Singularity Facebook page, as well as the WINEning About Movies Facebook page. And there's something I need to mention. I was talking to Mike Bodden today, and a lot of people have sent me stuff over the last, well, now 4 months. I have a gigantic box of stuff, including things that the Richard has sent me. I've got candy. I got stuff people have sent me over the last... The last time I did an unboxing was a long time ago.
Hopefully it comes before Friday.
No, I can't. I don't think it's not going to come before. I can't. I have a gigantic box. I'm going to be doing an unboxing video like I did last time. I got all kinds of crazy stuff in this box. So if you sent me something, and also your videos. I just had a bunch of videos transferred to me that Mike transferred that I haven't seen. I've been transcoding them because I have to affect them to put them on the show. I've got a whole slew of videos people have sent me, so you're going to see those. Austin sends in another super chat and says, for the 400th, will we get a tour of the Robservatory? And Liz, where did Rob take you on your first date? The Robservatories, half of it exists. I will not have enough time to do a Robservatory tour yet because I've got so much work I have to do with these interviews and videos. It's not
ready.
It's not ready. It'll get ready. It'll be ready though. Give me
when?
Come on. It's gonna be ready. It's gonna be ready. It's gotta be ready because I can't. The half of it's cool. Half
of it's done.
Half of it's not.
Half of it is.
It's kind of like Two-Face. He's really handsome on one side and kind of a mess on the other side. But
yeah, party in the front and mess in the back.
Anyway, yeah.
Kind of like.
Yeah, well, I got to get a haircut.
I got to give you a haircut.
I need a haircut. You got to get a haircut. Anyway, well, ladies and gentlemen, please go hook up the Richard or go talk to the Richard on the WINEning About Movies Facebook page. We have Viewer's Choice coming up. This was, of course, our
next... Oh, wait, what's your vote?
I don't know. I thought it was Triplets of Belleville.
No. What is your bottoms up?
Oh, my bottoms up on a scale of 1 to 4, I give Flesh and Blood a 3.
Cool.
Give Flesh and Blood a 3.
I voted emotionally, so
that's okay. You can. That's part of what people.
I mean, that's that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess our next movie is Triplets of Belleville.
Triplets of Belleville is next.
Which is our first animated film.
Super excited about.
First animated movie.
And it's French.
It's French. Yes.
It's French.
It's French. It's our first animated film. Viewer's Choice, Triplets of Belleville. We'll be doing that Saturday night. But we'll do something special for the 400 show.
So what are we doing for the 400?
I don't know. It's going to be something different. Something interesting. It's outside the purview of Elizabeth's WINEning About Movies. We'll talk about that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our moderating staff. Of course, the great Mike Bodden, Detective Jim Boyers, Greg Smith, Lewis Yu, who is here. He's been sick, but he's still here. And, of course, Jordy Lyons. I love my moderating staff. They make the Post-Geek Singularity here a great community. I want to thank everybody that's been sticking with this new show that we came up with while we've been on lockdown. We'll probably keep it going.
I enjoy it.
You enjoy it, and I think they enjoy it, too.
Cool.
So, at the end of every show, what happens, Elizabeth? Every person.
Every person you meet has a story to tell that you haven't heard.
And
all you have to do is listen.
Oh.
I got it right.
You got it right.
You know why?
Why?
Because we drank a Chardonnay.
Oh, does that sharpen your mind?
Yeah, there's less alcohol content.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Why are we drinking Chardonnay then?
Because it was hot and we wanted something cold and it was in the fridge.
It's true. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks all of your support for the channel, all of your support for us, all of your support for the ace here, the arbiter of cinematic excellence, and all your continued support of me. We thank you very much. We will be back with episode 19
19.
Elizabeth, which is our first animated film, The Triplets of Belleville.
The Triplets of Belleville on Saturday.
On Saturday. But tune in for the 400th episode of Robservations.
There will be a special segment for whining about movies.
Special segment. It's 6 hours and 40 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, and gentle beings and creatures from all of the 28 known galaxies. I don't know how it's going to go. We'll be raising money for charity. Should be fun, and all kinds of things, and we'll see what I can do for that.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. Well, with that, what do we say?
Have a better night.
Have a better night.
And stay safe.
And remember, cinema is the world's greatest art form. Thanks a lot.